Okay, please. Okay, 26, please. Just checking balance. 3.
The Bible as a story is a great canvas to paint on. And so I was excited to get a chance to have my stab at this genre.
That doesn't seem output as the drums, Jeff. That's my problem. Vocals.
They nailed it. It's really tight.
That was really good, yeah.
When I was researching before I started to score the film, I went and listened to a lot of the biblical epics, particularly the 50s, the great sandal flick era, and noticed that, they would often make this nod harmonically or chordally to the region, with the scales or something, but they never really employed very many or any of those native instruments. So I thought it would be a great new way to do it, to kind of combine the size and scope of the big symphonic sound with the more intimate and native sounds of the area. The story has these moments that are both extremely intimate and touching, and then these moments that, obviously, this is the story of Jesus, that has universal implications, and so you represent that with this bigger sound. So I knew that there was going to be some kind of, the range was going to be large, dynamically, but by using these native instruments, I knew we could bridge the gap.
We'll use it. Okay. Great. That thing's got a good bottom.
When we embarked on this project, we knew that one of the cardinal qualities that we were seeking was authenticity of the biblical era. So I think of this as a very pure concept, very pure and truthful and faithful to the Bible. There were ancient percussion sounds, precursors of the tambourine called the timbrels, and it was a matter of finding appropriate players. One of the reasons we came to London is because there are so many excellent musicians who specialize in the whole range of early music.
Good, sounds good, Paul.
There are 2 or 3 key ancient instruments that Jeff is relying upon. One of them is the ney, this ancient form of a flute, which is a very distinctive signature sound of this score. I think the viewer will feel that after hearing it. The Gospel of John, it's an enormous canvas, historically, religiously, emotionally for the viewer. I think music has an unusual opportunity in this film to act as a connecting thread throughout the entire film so that the viewer is carried along on an emotional journey. I think music plays an enormous role in propelling the story and its emotional trajectory.
I think that one of the things I like about combining, period instruments and orchestral elements is you get to sort of get to the heart of the sort of geographic soul of the area you're writing for. It's rewarding in that you can kind of take this classic genre and put an interesting spin on it, and also at the same time move it closer to its native home, which I think will lead you to the heart of the film emotionally.
Do you like it longer? Do you like it shorter?
What is coming across at the moment?
Working with Philip was easily one of the most rewarding aspects of this film. Philip's a smart man, and he knows music and film. He knows his story, and he knows his characters, and he knows how music works with those things.
What you're getting now is a boom sounding like a hammer blow rather than a sort of... Okay. So now what you go to... Boom. Okay. It shouldn't be boom.
Yeah, there were times where we sat down and we were working, and a certain problem would come up with the music, and we'd be sitting there thinking, how do we adjust this or answer these needs in this given scene. And, there are times when, he had the answer before I did, and it was the right answer. So I had a great time working with him.
Yes.
Exactly. Electric shock.
He definitely held the work up to a high standard. He wanted it good, and we kept banging at it until it was good.
Judas went to the garden, taking with him a group of Roman soldiers and some temple guards sent by the chief priests and the Pharisees. They were armed and carried lanterns and torches.
Yes, Jay. Make sure when we get to the section 14, 15, 16, that the brass dynamic comes significantly down.
What I try and do is always bring the concert performance into the recording studio. Basically, every cue, be it 1 minute or 3 minutes or 4 minutes, is a performance. And you're just rehearsing that. You go through, you check that it's all right with Jeff, you check it's all right with the director. My job is to take their comments and just make it happen on the stage in as quick as time as possible. That's great, that's lovely. That's fine. Jay, clicks off at 79.1, please.
With Nicholas, there's a trust I have with him now where I can sometimes use a verbal shorthand. I can sort of sketch out the build with the score I'm sending him and then just say, oh, and it needs to be even bigger at the end, or even sing parts to him over the phone and say, violins, arpeggios, doing something like this. And so we have this shorthand that also helps speed things along.
I think for obvious reasons this is a more spiritual, if you will, project. I think that the players are just responding to the reverential way the music is written. And it just sort of flowed beautifully.
Well, the Air Studio Philharmonic experience was absolutely thrilling for the whole music team. There's something about that church atmosphere at Air Studios that was just so right for this film, just that open, expanding, atmospheric sound. And the Philharmonic is easily the best band I've ever worked with. And it was just one of those things where my work and Nicholas's work and the band and the room all sort of just came together and felt sort of magical.
Okay, so Brad, can we try that trick last time, just keeping the click slow, so we kind of just feel the phrase?
There were a couple of scenes that were more of a challenge than others. The first being Jesus' love for his flock theme, which is the one that carries the film out at the end, is sort of very emotional and passionate.
You know everything. You know that I love you. Take care of my sheep.
That I had to think a lot about the Jesus love theme, just because it's something you want to impart all the emotion that he obviously has for the people around him in a way that isn't gushy or sentimental, because as soon as you cross into that, it makes it seem insincere. And I think the other reason that was just tricky for me was, getting a handle on that kind of love and put it into music. I mean, it needs something heartbreakingly beautiful to really represent the kind of love where you give your life up for your friends. I sat there a lot of nights thinking, I have to represent this musically. And that was a bit intimidating, but in the end, I'm very pleased with how it eventually turned out. Having to write music to some of those stories and characters you've read about all your life, it really took me inside of the story. And it's changed how I see the story and the people forever in a way that I'm grateful for.